Yeah, you need something with that movement. Maybe even the Irithel. I don't know. Like if you want to go with the Irithel just because you gotta kind of avoid the Ling that shows up with the Moskov. Might want to go for some mobility.
There's almost no one to shred or no tanky front line just yet for AP BREN.
Yeah, it's basically the Jawhead. Depending on what they put in the XP lane, so. All right, there's the answer, though. It's going to be Bedang and the Bruno.
Whoa!
Interesting on the Bruno pick. Wasn't expecting that, but they go with that.
Yeah. One of the usual matchups when it comes to the Moskov, it's because it's kind of like, it operates like a Moskov except for the Spear of Destruction, but they,
Hylos, yep.
AP BREN will select Hylos as their final pick, and now AP BREN, their potentially last lineup that could determine if they will enter the playoffs has been set. Will this James Pank's Ling be enough for them to soar high over Onyx Philippines? We'll find out as we enter the land of Dawn. But right now, your thoughts about the current drafts?
I feel like AP BREN at this point really went for comfort. It's like they wanted to use heroes that they're really familiar with, that they're really comfortable using, because these, again, it's not just the Lu Yi who was their championship hero. It's also the Ling, who we know is one of James Pank's signature assassins as well. So if they're able to set the tempo, if they're able to carry out the early game, this might be a better situation for AP BREN overall.
Last series for week number 7 is underway. A do-or-die match for the debuting team of AP BREN. Once MDL champions, now in the brink of elimination. Will they be able to regain this series? This is AP BREN versus Onyx Philippines.
Yep.
Whoa.
Match point at that, but Super Friends! Woo, that was close. Okay.
He's like, yeah, that's why I like the Lu Yi. That early damage already is always something that surprises, a lot of players that go against the Lu Yi. So this will be interesting because, yeah, I really do think that AP BREN's lineup here could work out really well. It's just going to be how do they play around it? How do they capitalize around this too? James Panks being proactive on this Ling is going to be important. Not only that, but also protecting his buffs for him. And you can bet that Onyx Philippines wants to counterplay into the jungle if they can.
Yep. This just goes to show that the mentality of AP BREN is literally what James Panks said, that they have no regrets.
Yep.
They're not afraid. They're planning to leave everything out right now and try to contest for a playoff spot, because despite losing an 11-minute, 17-second game, they're still proactive right now, as you mentioned. And James Panks with his one of his signatures, the Ling, going up against the Hayabusa of King Kong. Later on, when it comes to neutral objectives, we'll see if he's really ready for the big leagues.
Yeah, and for some reason, it's still Onyx Philippines with a better control of the map. They're able to anticipate wherever AP BREN is planning to go and move around. So they have full information, and they can just base off whatever rotations they want to do from these informations. Just look at Brusco, really making sure that James Panks is within sight, but they are definitely going to go for the contest. James Panks goes in, but fails to secure the retribution. And look at that beautiful fist break, fist crack combo coming in from Kirk. But now the fight is split into 2, and AP BREN gets to take down 2.
Great kills for AP BREN. Yeah, they trade the turtle, but they'd rather go for the kills, and it went into the right hands. At least James Panks got one too. And so with that, they give themselves this little bit of a lead to work around. But, you saw that Onyx Philippines' plan was to just get the turtle and get out, because even then King Kong didn't go back to join the fight. So, again, a trade that maybe they were looking for there, but ultimately favoring AP BREN.
Yeah. It was also crucial that there was, had to revitalize, so the sustain was enough. King Kong disciplined enough to decide not to enter anymore and just sacrifice Kirk for the objective take. As long as they try and prevent a potential snowball from AP BREN, they will be able to do their job. Abyssal Arrow is going to connect, plus the Wiki Shadow Kill, even force out the Flicker. But you cannot outrun a ninja like King Kong.
Oh, look at Super Friends though. It feels so rare to see him actually do that. I know he did it in Mobile Masters,
It's grown on him.
But like, even up until now?
Yeah. I mean, you expect Super Friends to be this confident, but there.
Well, did you see King
Brought
Kong
it
just
out?
stand in front of everyone? But now they are going to go in for the counter.
Oh!
Engage! The Abyssal Arrow still connects on to Shizu though. Forces out the Purify, and now Brusco is still able to sustain everything despite all that.
Well, that's too bad. That arrow, you know, if that arrow connected, would have been easier for them to get the kill. But look at this pressure from Kirk. Gets a lot of gold down there, and the fact that Kelro is up for that fight and then grabs a kill is a big moment there for Onyx Philippines.
That's why they also opted for a Bruno. So in terms of fighting power, they also have a punch early on in the game. But I really want to commend Super Prince. The Abyssal Arrow literally passed through 2 bodies that connected to Shizu, even forced out the Purify. And that's crucial because there's a turtle take, and your Moskov doesn't have Purify, but Kirk going up against 3, trying to delay the purple buff take.
What could be the call here? 12 Skirts seems to be hovering around the map with that diversion, but every single diversion attempt seems to be scouted and anticipated by Onyx Philippines. There's the Abyssal Arrow and the trap landed onto Kekedot. Let's see how they set things up for this turtle.
Go Shadow in. They're waiting and not overcommitting just yet. Super Prince, they're waiting for the glorious pathway to be casted. AOG coming in from Kirk, not gonna connect onto anyone but Kirk. On the other hand, onto the back line. Who's gonna get the turtle?
All right, they get to dodge that AOG, and James Banks this time secures the turtle for themselves. They might be going for the disengage. They're happy with that objective that they got.
Again, a good take there, really a push and pull, but you still got to be able to respect, you know, even what AP BREN can do in a team fight. And again, Onyx Philippines has to decide on how they follow up on either the Abyssal Arrows or even Kirk's initiations. But so far, it just seems like, you know, they're focusing on farming up, doing what they can, because even for Kelra, his damage spike is going to come pretty soon. You know, a lot quicker here on a Bruno, where that damage really starts to show, especially when those first couple items are locked in. He's already got the Haas Claws, so he can go ahead and sustain through some of these fights. But nonetheless, this is a lot better game for AP BREN in Game 2.
Yeah. They're able to manage things so much well. And even in terms of the waves, Onyx Philippines, compared to the first game, they're yet to take away a turret, but look at how they've transitioned into making sure that they mess up King Kong's farming.
The senses of King Kong to be able to dodge Kekedot's potential setups. He's playing it safe, but at the same time in style with the shadow of the Hayabusa. And what I like about AP BREN is that they're packing a punch compared to game number 1. This time they're being aggressive, proactive, trying to invade onto King Kong, and at the same time they're not forcing anything. Because most of the time, if you have a Joy and Louis combination and you're not doing anything in the early game, you're forced to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, they can kind of also just respond to Onyx Philippines, because they know that Super Prince is going to spend a lot of time, you know, scouting out with the traps, but also throwing out the arrows. And honestly, if Super Prince doesn't land those early on, there's really not much of a choice that they can do to force a fight, unless, again, Kirk is willing to go ahead and expend the flicker to get a setup, you know? So the whole game plan for Onyx Philippines is really playing around the Abyssal Arrows, and AP BREN knows that. So they can be the ones to go ahead, kind of react to that, let James Panks farms up. You have a lot more options to start fights if you want to, if you're AP BREN, especially with being able to go ahead and reposition the way you want to around having a Luo Yi. But now this turtle is up here. It's the last one of the game. They'll go ahead and get ready to fight for it.
And we see the Infinix hand cam of James Panks on the link too while they prepare for this upcoming take. But it seems like they've scouted Kekedot, and they're yet to actually go in. AP BREN, they're just waiting for their timing.
Shizu opting to go for a top lane trade instead. James Banks wants to go for the red re-steal, but King Kong will secure the turtle.
Yep, they did go for the retribution, but they did not get to secure the objective, and now the Abyssal Arrow lands onto Chop Skirt as well. Not even on a Brave Smite will be able to stay for long. There's the only one left toward the bottom lane, but he gets caught in the fist break, and that'll be enough for AP BREN to look for other things across the map.
Great push, though, from Shizu, despite it all. You know, at least able to get that tier 2. But these are now the pressure points from Onyx Philippines to go ahead and work on this, even in the buff.
Oh no, Tempest of Blaze already used, and right into the Abyssal Arrow! James Banks will fall! There is the next next as well. But for some reason, he's able to sustain just a bit of the damage, but not for long. And Kekedot, it's a triple for Super Prince.
The Monster Mage once again making his presence felt with an amazing play as Onyx Philippines continues their push. Shizu slowly finding ways to even out the economy. At this point, AP BREN is going to resort to the strength of their lineup, which is the split push. Whether it's James Pax, whether it's Shizu, they have to do it because again, they're in the brink of elimination up against Onyx Philippines.
Oh my goodness, I just have to say it's a 6-0-1 for Super Prince.
It's kind of impressive when you see a game of a Selena in the hands of Super Prince because he's able to make things happen like that. And you don't see that all the time because a lot of the times the Selena players are just playing around those arrows and letting the team follow up. But no, it's Super Prince that's getting the triple kills and the kills in between all these angles in the jungle even. And I mean, you're seeing it. So I hope that this time that Shizu's been farming up and pressuring it. Oh, diversion. They send James Pang on that side.
Shizu, he doesn't have a Winter Crown or anything, so he's going to be taken down by King Kong. No defensive items. A major shutdown for Onyx.
3 members of AP BREN, they find themselves against 4 members. No, make it 5 of Onyx Philippines, but they're fortunately able to walk away from danger just in time for this upcoming Lord. But still, they have to consider that was Shizu that got taken out.
Oof, and he's going to lose the purple buff here. Now for James Panks. As I was just saying, I hope that time that Shizu's been pushing around the map, it pay off, but he gets picked off instead, and now this Lord is up. We're going to see if AP BREN actually wants to try to contest this. It might come down to a retribution battle.
Oh no, Kekedot gets blasted! Kellera takes the kill. That's the SOD coming in from Shizu, and they decide to fight. Now everyone's in the middle of the mist break, and Kellera finds his double kill, but Shizu gets to take down Brusco!
Kellera up against 2. He's working on there. He might be able to take him down, and a triple! Again, Kellera up against Softskirt! A maniac for the god in the gold lane!
It's a wipeout for Onyx Philippines, and they get to secure the Lord!
Cool, Kellera's positioning, and you saw, even with the Haas Claws, able to stay in that fight. He got a little health back even before recommitting to it, and then all turns into just getting a maniac here. Onyx Philippines just flipping the switch, all of that resulting into a massive objective and now a massive gold lead ahead. And it's, again, AP BREN. It looked okay for a while, but now they find themselves in this position.
Yeah, so much is denied from AP BREN once Onyx Philippines gets to immediately shut down Kekedot. And that has been the story for the majority of this game. Kekedot just can't seem to find the angles. He immediately gets caught by either Super Prince, he immediately gets poked down, and now they're making their way through the base.
11 minutes in already, a 7K gold lead for Onyx. AP BREN gonna try and make quick work of that Lord, but Holy Shields will be gone. At first, it's down bottom. Now they're targeting the top lane. They will, however, be able to save inhibitor turrets, but again, at this point, nothing. No one is safe. There's a conceal coming in from Brusco. They might look for an angle right now, but they're not gonna force out anything. Super Prince hitting with Abyssal Arrow. They might go for Kekedot!
Oh, look at the damage, and there's the trap to finish off the kill. Super Prince is now legendary on the Selena, and they might actually gain gradual access to the inhibitor turrets now.
They still hold on, AP BREN, holding on to the base turrets, but they just playing around, trying to dodge the arrows from Super Prince. Now sitting at 8-0-4. It's a massive game on the Selena right now as the wave's pushing now in top and mid and bottom. Can AP BREN hold on to this?
AP BREN on the verge of elimination. Brusco goes in.
Oh, King Kong gets taken down though by Chopskirt, but there's an immediate response from the Super Fab. It seems like AP BREN still wants to make things happen. That's the unstoppable one, but Chopskirt gets left alone against Super Prince, and Kellera's just going for it. He's finishing everyone off.
Oh no! Shizu up against Kurt. 2 are still alive, but Super Prince are in the picture also. It's gonna be a 2-on-2 that we're able to defend, but all the inhibitor turrets are taken down. And AP BREN, they are still alive.
They get to defend even when we thought that Onyx Philippines was so close to putting an end to it. So they get to live for a little longer.
Oof, they live a little longer. They got a ton of gold in their hands, but is it going to be enough? We're 20 seconds away from this lore to come up, but Onyx Philippines will be back for the fight. So AP BREN has to make use of that extra gold they just got in their pockets, because even when it comes to the team fights, again, that was Onyx Philippines just pressuring them, you know, playing around the fact even Kelra jumping in for the fight. And so now, will it come down to them actually getting control around this Lord as AP BREN gets in position for Onyx Philippines to go ahead and still, they know Conceal's going to be used. They're going to push them off this Lord here.
Okay, Brusco spots out almost everyone from AP BREN, and they just take full control of this Lord pit. AP BREN, though, they still have their resources, they still have the glorious pathway, and they have the setups that could potentially come from Kekedot. But Kekedot has to be extra careful on who he is going to commit these skills onto.
They're now gonna commit to the split push. She's already has a Wind of Nature, so even if King Kong manages to go to him, he can outplay him, even with a Wiki Shadow Kill. But he's now gonna go home because he has to defend the mid lane. And once he shows himself, Onyx might be able to make a move, but AP BREN starting things off. They might want to go for the burst on the Lord.
Could this be an advantage for AP BREN? Brusco and Kelra are yet to make their way, but still they get to catch up. That's the glorious pathway to somehow slow them down. But look at the fist break, fist crack from Kirk! He gets to land it onto James Bax. Damn, the first of all, but both XP-laners get traded out. Shizo is next, and now it's a double kill for King Kong!
Kekedot is the only one left up against 4 gods in the bottom lane. Is this enough time for Onyx to eliminate AP BREN?
And that is it for AP BREN as Onyx Philippines secures the sweep!
And the Super Fam will come